After years of relentless search, right-wing media has finally nailed President Biden on an unforgivable scandal which may jeopardize his... I'm just kidding. They are literally complaining about his shoes. Intrigued? Then click that like, subscribe, and the alert bell, and maybe check out my Patreon, and enjoy the video. This is another relatively lighthearted Friday video because it doesn't really pertain to issues of national substance, and yet it is becoming a focus in right-wing media, particularly on Fox News, the Fox propaganda network, which is the highest rated of all news networks. They are spending time complaining about President Biden's footwear. Let's play the clip and we'll unpack it.
You know, Dagan, when it comes to picking on footwear and all that, I mean, I do kind of just give a yawn to all of it. We often change our footwear. I've broken my ankle in the last 3 years. Yeah, things change.
She should just stop there. That's Harris Faulkner on Fox News. She should just stop there because, I mean, that's a beautiful preamble. And then she should say, so then we're changing the subject to something more substantive. We have a much more substantive critique of the president, but she doesn't stop there. So let's continue.
But, you know, when you look at him juxtaposed with some of those he would run against, like Donald Trump, they're not that far off in age. Joe Manchin, not that far off in age.
I will point out, it's actually good that she's pointing this out because, unfortunately, conservatives have too effectively weaponized the notion that President Biden and Donald Trump are like orders of magnitude apart in terms of age. That's just simply not true. There are about 3 years separating Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They are quite literally peers. So it's actually good that she is pointing this out to Fox News viewers who may tend to believe, for whatever reason, that Donald Trump is like 20 or 30 years younger than Joe Biden, when in fact, again, he is also close to the same age.
The president who's an octogenarian. But what?
Oh my God, there they are, folks. You see them? Right there. I hope you braced yourself. I hope you braced yourself. I hope you have somebody standing by to catch you if you fall. Hopefully you have like a life alert necklace, or maybe you're sitting down. I should have actually blurred this image out. I should have given you a not safe for work or trigger warning. I hope you're okay.
Well, I made a joke last night on Hannity. Those shoes, my father will be 87 in a week. And to a man of that generation, wearing those shoes, particularly as commander-in-chief in public, when you're going on, this is formal business, that's the equivalent of wearing your bedroom slippers outside. That's like wearing a Speedo and flip-flops to a funeral. So these elitist snobs in the White House are blithely lying to the American people over and over again because they think we're stupid, and we're not.
We're the elitist snobs, not the wealthy media pundits complaining about the president of the United States' shoes. We're the wealthy snobs. They're not the wealthy snobs complaining not about, again, substantive issues, matters of policy, matters of executive direction or decision, or applications of executive authority, but literally the fact that he's wearing sneakers. They're complaining about that. They're devoting actual live TV airtime and energy complaining about shoes, but we're the snobs. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and also, they think we're stupid. We definitely think you're stupid. We definitely think she's stupid. We definitely think anybody who is spending time worrying, fretting, either genuinely or cynically about the president's footwear, yes, that's stupid. Listen, I'm sure there are plenty of good faith reasons to dislike. I mean, I like President Biden. I support his agenda. I support the Democrats. But if you don't, I'm sure there are plenty of substantive critiques you can make against President Biden, the Biden administration, the Democratic Party writ large. This ain't it, Chief. This is not one of them. So yes, it is stupid to be wasting time on that. But let's continue.
We've cared for elderly parents and relatives, and we can look at this man and see what's going on. We know dementia, we know age, we know Alzheimer's when we see it. And we look at Joe Biden and think, we would not let him drive our car in an empty church parking lot. We know what's happening with him.
I will point out that she is not a medical authority at all whatsoever, and she's offered no medical corroboration to the idea that President Biden is suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia or anything else. Listen, again, to be fair, I've pointed out in videos that I've done here in the past that President Biden, I've got another clip I want to play here just as a reference point, that President Biden is unquestionably showing signs of cognitive decline associated with age. I would not be surprised at all. If you compare President Biden's interviews and debates in 2023 to that in 2012 when he was up against Vice President, he was the vice president, but when he was up against Paul Ryan, who was a policy wonk, an excellent debater, Biden cleaned his clock, right? There's no question that as President Biden has gotten older, his verbal response time has slowed down. That's not a question of competence, however. There's no indication that he is incompetent. As a matter of fact, he has often demonstrated in speeches, in policy discussions, in interviews, that he still has a grasp of geopolitics that Donald Trump simply does not. He is a vastly more competent president than Donald Trump ever was or ever shall be. And by the way, speaking of cognitive decline, Trump is himself suffering from that. If you go back and you look at interviews that Trump conducted either with late-night talk show hosts or Larry King or Oprah Winfrey 10, 20 years ago, you see an erosion of, like, again, verbal acuity, things like vocabulary. He was a much more well-spoken and a much faster talker 20 years ago, 10 years ago than he is today. But that's still not a question of competence. And that's still not a question of Alzheimer's or dementia. So it's wildly irresponsible for a Fox News propagandist to say the things that she did. Now, I do want to play this clip here because all this hubbub about Joe Biden's shoes reminds me of a scandal that was also of Joe Biden's time, but of a different president. See if you remember this.
Ugliest suits in the history of America.
I think it was shocking to a lot of people.
Look at that horrible light tan suit. An impeachable offense right there.
I looked twice to make sure he wasn't a circus ringmaster. The only thing missing was the top hat.
Whoever talked him into going into a tan suit, they're so desperate because of these low poll numbers, they're willing to do anything.
A serious businessman wears dark blue or black to important meetings. I think it's a sign to enemies that he's a wimp.
This confirms he's a Marxist.
If you're going to a garden wedding, the tan suit's fine. Otherwise, forget it.
That's the other thing is they say it didn't fit.
Some people saying it was too casual, not presidential, and the wrong color for the world's leader.
That's probably not the first time a Republican or a conservative has said something about Obama and made the statement, wrong color for a world leader. Hint, because many of them are racist. But the bottom line is this is the sort of stupid, sartorial scandal that conservative pundits and Republican officials and Republican heavyweights try to come up with when they can't attack the sitting president on substance. Find something substantive to critique President Biden on. His shoes? That's as ridiculous as criticizing President Obama's tan suit. This is all they traffic in, folks. This is, again, the niche BS culture war stuff that has absolutely no bearing on the lives of their viewers, and yet will probably rile their viewers up. So anyway, just wanted to point all that out. It's absolutely ridiculous that Fox devoted time to it, but it's fun that we did to make fun of them for it.